guys, Fairy Babe checking in. Learn my lesson. Happy birthday, Andy. Tried to find my red lipstick, but I think I dumped it or packed it away somewhere. My mother always wore red, and she always had flat, her lipsticks were always flat on top because of the way she put them on. So when I see red lipstick and red nail polish with the half moons, but she can never grow her nails real long. So there was no change in my weight today. I ate yesterday, I ate today, but as compulsive as I am, tomorrow is the 1st of October. And the last time I was doing around, I think it was, actually P3 I started on the 1st of the month. And I like that because I can look at the date and know how many days. So even though I've been ingesting HCG for some time now, I really haven't had any VLCDs. So I'm looking at tomorrow being VLCD. And Donna O is going to be starting around. So I'm looking forward to being round buddy with her. So by God, I'm going to do this. I had wanted a non-scale victory that was a scale victory, and let me explain. I saw the allergist today. I see him once a year. And last year I refused to get on their scale because why the hell does he have to know how much I weigh? I tell him. And I said to her, and I'm still 5'8". It just was very punitive. I hate being inspected. And from my regular doctor, I can see, okay, we need to track weight. But the allergist, But I got on their scale, and it was one of the old-fashioned ones with the weights. And I had wanted to be able to get on a scale and not have to put that friggin' 150. When I was 140, I wouldn't have to go to that 150 big weight and then slide the other one along. Yeah, well, I had to slide it along. And I am swollen. My legs are like tree trunks again. Ever since I had thigh surgery, my legs and my ankles just, it's raining. It doesn't look like it from where you are, but you might be able to hear it. And I don't know if you can you see it coming down the gutter? Not really. Our gutters are in rough shape. They're always full because we have so many leaks. And my daughter is never home at the right time. She's the one that likes to climb the ladder. So I told the allergist that I've been having all kinds of trouble. And he said since May, things I've been allergic to have been very prolific. I'm allergic to pretty much all the pollens of all the grasses and trees. Ragweed is a big one, and I haven't had anything changed on my extract. If you're not familiar, they take everything you're allergic to, they put it into a bottle, and then they pull it out and inject it into your body. They inject what you are most allergic to into your body. And I haven't been having a reaction to the injections for quite some time. I used to get heat and a bump, and it would be sore and itch for a day, day and a half, and then it would stop. Well, I haven't had any. I think I got bum extract this last time. Because for the last 2 years, I have been going religiously. So when he checked, I haven't had an increase in toxins for some time. So he doubled everything. Then he tripled dust mites. He said dust mites, my serum was really low on that. And, he doubled dogs. I said, you might as well double the dogs. Even though I try not to be around the dogs that much, it's still in the air. So I'll go back and get my new shot Friday, and they will have injected all that crap into it, so I expect I'll be having a reaction. So, Andy, happy birthday again. And for your birthday, I'll tell a story. Now, my stories are pretty bland compared to your stories. This is for my 18th, this was the story of my 18th birthday party. I had been in a summer theater. My birthday is July 31st. Come back to the high school. I was living in Bad Axe. My mother had married and moved there. And I drove back to Elkton Pigeon Bayport High School my senior year from Bad Axe. My siblings went to Bad Axe, but I did my last senior year at Elkton Pigeon Bayport. They call it Lakers now. And this is up in the thumb of Michigan, right about here, called Cuticle of the Thumb. So the kids that I was in school with, not real sophisticated. In fact, when I was in the 8th grade, I moved from Charlotte, North Carolina, where everybody, I think I've talked about this, had designer everything. And I moved in the middle of the 8th grade, beginning of the 8th grade, and I showed up. I had on a flowered suit and nylons and leather shoes, and they thought I was the student teacher. They were still wearing anklets and tennis shoes, and they had Kmart plastic purses, whereas I was real into my designer purses because that was the only thing. I couldn't wear any designer clothes. I was too fat. So by the time I graduated, then this would have been the summer I turned 18. So it would have been, we were doing Camelot. And I was Morgan Le Fay. If you're familiar with the musical Camelot, Morgan Le Fay is the only other female character in there besides Guinevere. And of course, I was not Guinevere material. Really wasn't traditionally Morgan Le Fay anyway, but the way I played it, it worked. And then I was, you know, in the chorus and that sort of thing. So for my 18th birthday, I had a big party, and all the cast and everybody that was involved, the kids came to my house, which was a half hour away from the high school where we went. But we had, there was some property attached, and on that property were some woods. And also on that property was a barn. Now, my brother had taken over the barn. He's 4 years younger than I am. This is the only brother I have that I've talked about. And he and his friends had turned the top part of the barn into, and it wasn't a huge barn. It was just like, I don't even know. I don't think I was ever even in there. The size of maybe a 2-car garage. Square footage wise, but 2 stories, so it had a loft, and they had hauled all kinds of stuff. He was friends with some of the wealthier kids in town, and their parents had been very generous, and so they had this loft for their clubhouse, and there was a little bit of partying that went on up there. I don't know. I know there was probably drinking, even though they were 14. And I don't know if they were doing pot at that point or not, but for my 18th birthday, we had a great big finished rec room basement. And now you have to remember, this is the drama club. And pretty much my best friend was a fellow named Bob. And Bob later came out. I had one of those too. He had a tremendous crush on me and was quite upset. We both ended up at MSU, and he was quite upset when Rick, my husband, came onto the scene. We since have lost touch. I know where he is, but he kind of moved on. He moves in different circles now. But back then, he was overweight, a lot of fun, and he could get hysterical. And so he was aware of what we were going to be doing, but a lot of the kids weren't. So what you had were the 2 most dramatic BSers of the crowd taking everybody on a snipe hunt. And we had cake pans and ladles, and we were banging, and we gave everybody instructions about snipe. That we had to, how you chased them down, how you had to get low to the bushes and beat and yell, "Snipe!" And I'm not doing that very loud because, Lorelai, I know you like to listen to me as you're trying to fall asleep. So I was going to bring a pan out and bang on it, but I won't do that to you. But you just have to picture 25, 30 kids of different sizes and ages tramping in the dark through a field past this barn, and we started banging our pans and yelling, "Snipe! Hey, snipe!" on our way to the woods. And my brother and his friends were up in the loft, and I don't think I realized they were up there. And as we passed, they hear this commotion, and they're used to having this space all to themselves because it was out from the house. My mother never went there. My stepfather never went there. And if they were like drunk or stoned, the paranoia, I can just imagine. We were laughing about it when he was up just last month, that talking about the clubhouse and the night of the snipe hunt. So we get back into the woods, and there were a couple of really, really wonderfully gullible people. And one of them was the fellow that was King Arthur. And I don't know if he ever officially came out, but we all suspected he would at some point. And he was very light on his feet, King Arthur. But somehow he ended up lying among the weeds, looking for snipe. I don't know. So we're banging and we're going through looking for snipe, and we've got brown bags and we're catching them, and you know, we'd get one and then somebody would want to peek and they'd let it go, and we'd be like, you know, just going dramatic on them. So it was just one of my favorite memories. If you've never been snipe hunting, it's really an experience. You need to find someone to take you. But the fellow who laid down in the weeds got poison ivy, and he got poison ivy in his crotch area. So when he went to the doctor, he said to the doctor, "Oh, my girlfriend and I were in the woods," or my girlfriend and I were in the woods, and we were not boyfriend, girlfriend, but I was a girl and I was his friend. And the doctor said, "Well, did she get it too?" Well, this happened to be my doctor as well. And I can just imagine how this doctor thought he ended up getting poison ivy in his private parts. But the poor guy was so miserable, so miserable. Why did I tell him to crawl in the weeds, you know? But he said, but she washed real well. So, because I came in, I said, "Okay, everybody into the bathroom, wash off. You don't want to get poison ivy." Well, he must have had it on his hands, and then, you know. So he said to the doctor, "Yeah, my girlfriend washed real well, so she didn't get it." Now, the doctor would have known that I wasn't having any you-de-do at that point if he had realized who it was. But, yeah, that's the doctor that I have nasty stories about him. I do not like this man at all. Talk about arrogant son of a bitch. You know, I'm 13 years old. I'm laying on the table with just this sheet, and he grabs my substantial belly and says, "This is gross." And I said, "Yeah, I think so too." So he would say, "Go home." He says, "Lose 30 pounds between now and the time I see you again." Yeah, right, prick. If I could, I would. And I didn't tell my mother years and years and years. And of course, she was devastated when she found out, because she hurt for me. It hurt. It still hurts. And, you know, I don't put up with shit from doctors anymore. That's why this thing with the plastic surgeon's a little on the if side. So she said, "Well, if it's any consolation, he got fat." So yeah, it was some consolation. So Andy, happy birthday. That's my happy birthday story. I don't know if I have very many other Bodiodo fun birthday stories. I'll just have to think about it and come up with some with you. So I'm almost at my 15 minutes, and I will probably check in tomorrow, but I won't have anything to report except probably I'm up. So that's all for now. Bye-bye.